this room knows somebody that has been sexually abused. Statistics show that there are 42 million Americans that have been sexually abused. 3 million of those are children. That could fill 46 national football stadiums.
Well, to spare you the details, this man went on to lift me up onto a bed, fighting, kicking, screaming, my best friend locked out, trying to get in, sexually abusing and eventually raping me for the first time in my life. I can remember this day picture perfect. The shoes he tossed on the floor, the closet doors open, thinking he was going to kill me. With his hand over my mouth, afraid that I would not live to see another day. I could still see that man's eyes burned in my head. But you see, I didn't run home and tell anybody what happened. Didn't say a thing. No, I was eventually given an IEP in the school. A week later, I put my hand through the window of my grandparents' house. I was labeled behavior disorder by the schools. They spent thousands of hours for years on me with school psychologists, school social workers, trying to figure out why I had so many anger problems. No one was asking those important questions. We're moving. I'm getting away from this monster. Little did I realize there was another monster in my life, someone a lot closer to me. An older teenage cousin, once again waking up at age 11 years old. Older teenage cousin sexually abusing me in my sleep. Panic. All that stuff that came back up as a little kid. The sexual abuse with my cousin continued. 11, 12, 13, Thanksgivings, Christmases, while I babysat his 2 younger brothers. Threatened, this is our little secret, you will destroy our large family. No one will believe you. So what did I do? I kept my secrets locked away in this little childhood diary. The only place that seemed to be that I can get my pain out and hide it under my mattress for nobody to know the horror that I had been enduring. 6th grade, as I'm still being sexually abused, we were taught another very important program, DARE. I became a little DARE graduate. I knew what to do when I was approached with drugs. How to say no to drugs. They taught us the 8 ways, right on that card. The 8 ways to say no to drugs. But as I stand here before you today, I ask you, where were the 8 ways on how to get away, on how to tell today? They never came. So I continued to stay silent, not telling anybody about what had happened to me in my childhood. Yet I knew what to do when stranger danger came walking up. I was warned all about that. As a matter of fact, I even wrote about it in my little childhood diary. Just after being sexually abused, I wrote here as a little 5th grader. I sobbed the whole way home. Over and over in my head, I thought about what just happened. In school, a guy called Officer Friendly teaches us about stranger danger. Never to answer the door when my parents are gone. I thought people like Brian jumped out of bushes and attacked you at night. I was never warned about my own family. They don't teach you that in school.
Governor Quinn is scheduled to sign Erin's law today. The new law will give children education on sexual abuse with an age-appropriate curriculum.
Joining us now, Merryn, who started the initiative for Erin's law. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming in so early. So we know this all started because you were sexually abused as a child, and there were 2 ways you could have gone with this. You could have hid in the shadows, as they say, but you did not. What was the turning point for you to come out and start speaking out about it?
I realized there's so much shame around this issue, and so many people don't want to talk about it, so I decided I wanted to be that face and voice. I wanted others to come out of darkness and realize that they have nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah.
And so decided, I learned tornado drills, bus drills, fire drills as a kid. I knew stranger danger. 93% of the time, kids are sexually abused by somebody they love and trust.
And that was
that was the waking point in my case, both a neighbor and a family member, and I decided we need to wake up society. We need to educate children.
And I understand that in your case, you were quiet because you were manipulated as a child because you didn't know any better. You were convinced that if you were to come out and say something, you'd get in trouble, right?
Oh, the only message I got from both my perpetrators was, this is our little secret. No one will believe you. I'll come get you at night. You'll destroy our family. So, and I wasn't getting the other message, tell, tell, tell. You won't be in trouble. This isn't your fault. So many kids don't speak up because of this, and that 7-year-old that's being abused tonight will often wait until she's 30 years old because the only message she's getting is from her perpetrator.
So what is next for Erin's Law? We know, obviously, you're from Illinois, so very important for you to have this all start here, essentially.
Well, I went after this law 3 years ago, and I was doubted because it's an unfunded mandate, but you shouldn't put a price tag on a child's life, and kids need to be educated. So after testifying 4 times in Illinois, Governor Quinn is signing it today. I'm absolutely thrilled.
Congratulations.
I knew we could get it done. And I said there are not only children in Illinois being sexually abused, there's children around this world. I am going state to state testifying. I've got it passed in 5 states now.
Okay.
Awesome.
Won't give up until all 45 have passed it.
Explain what happens after the governor signs this bill. I mean, what changes?
Kids will now, in all Illinois public schools, will begin to be taught sexual abuse prevention, how to speak up, the role plays teaching kids the same way we teach them DARE and how to say no to drugs, the same way we teach them bully intervention. We're going to now be teaching kids how to not keep this a secret, how to tell, how to speak up, the role plays on what's a safe touch, what's an unsafe touch, what's a safe secret, what's an unsafe secret, and how to identify safe adults to tell if this is going on.
Erin, congratulations.
Thank you.
For this and for another reason, congratulations on your engagement.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Victory today for a young woman from Schaumburg who is a survivor of child sexual abuse. We need to warn parents who are watching this story with young ones. Some of what you're about to hear is a description of the violence Erin faced. Erin Merryn. Illinois now has a law named after her. Governor Quinn signed Erin's Law today. It requires public schools to have age-appropriate programs that teach children to tell someone and to know when they are touched inappropriately. Teachers will also be required to get training in recognizing the signs of an abused child. Merryn says she would have asked for help had she known how or that it was available.
Had I been educated in kindergarten that this is inappropriate touching, I would have gone home after that sleepover the next day and told my parents what had happened. Instead, I was threatened, told, no one will believe me, I will come get you at night. This man, a year later, proceeded to rape me right before my 7th birthday.
Merryn eventually sought help when she was 13. She wants others to speak up sooner. Today's signing ceremony was held at the Children's Advocacy Center, which is where she says she was finally helped to heal.
All public schools in Illinois now are required to have sexual assault and abuse awareness programs starting next school year. This measure is known as Erin's Law. Governor Pat Quinn signed it into law today. ABC 7's Leah Hope was there.
The last time Margot and Erin were in this room, they were children. Children telling a counselor about their sexual abuse and the threats from their abusers that followed.
Walking in, it kind of brought me back to that age and just thinking of those memories of my sister going through, trying to process all the pain and everything.
This is a place that I once walked in here scared and terrified that I wasn't going to be believed.
The women came back to the Children's Advocacy Center of North and Northwest Cook County today to witness a new law to empower young victims of abuse. Governor Quinn signed Erin's Law today. It requires age-appropriate sexual assault and abuse awareness and prevention for students starting in pre-kindergarten.
Those who are victims, we want to make sure we not only protect them, but help them become survivors.
Erin and her sister held their secrets for years. But Erin began a campaign to make sure other young victims know it's okay to tell someone and it's okay to ask for help.
My innocence was killed, my trust was taken. But I reclaim my voice, and I want every survivor of sexual abuse to do the same.
Each month, the center sees 35 new cases of child sex abuse. Erin and her sister started their process of recovery here, and they hope arming children with information will stop abuse sooner and get victims the support they need.
The signing of it today was unbelievable and it was crazy. And so it's just very exciting that many kids will be saved with this law.
I never would have imagined, 15 years later, I would be walking through these doors, getting a law passed to give kids a voice in the same place I found my voice.
Now,
after 3 years, several trips to the state capitol, a victim of sexual abuse sees her persistence to protect kids pay off today. WGN's Jay Miller has more on the new law named in honor of Erin.
Surrounded by members of the Illinois General Assembly and members of the Northwest Cook County Children's Advocacy Center, Governor Quinn signed House Bill 6193, better known as Erin's Law, into the books today.
I am so ecstatic that this is finally happening, but I knew in my heart we would get it done.
Erin Merryn, who the bill is named after, has fought for 3 years to get the legislation passed in Illinois.
This law gives kids the voice to speak up, not keep this a secret, to tell. For that little 7-year-old that's being abused tonight, who is educated in schools on not keeping this a secret, she won't carry it until she's 30 years old and be repeatedly abused throughout her childhood.
Merryn was sexually abused twice as a child, once by a neighbor when she was just 6 years old, then again by a relative when she was 11. She says the abusers used threats and fear to make her feel helpless and voiceless.
No one will believe me. I would destroy our family. I had no proof. So this was the only message I was given, so I kept my secrets locked away in a childhood diary.
Merryn went on to publish her diary into a book called Stolen Innocence, and now today she can take credit for Erin's Law, which requires schools in Illinois to implement a curriculum that educates students about sexual assault and abuse.
We have a heroic, courageous survivor, Erin, who went down to Springfield, 4 times, yes. 4 different times, to testify before the legislature to get this law passed.
It remains to be seen how schools will work the law into their curriculums. Meanwhile, Erin is busy planning her wedding, but says her work here isn't done.
I've gotten the law passed in 4 other states. I have 10 more introducing it in this year, 2013, and I won't quit till the next 45 states pass this law.
And so far this year, Erin's Law will be introduced in 10 other states so far. Governor Pat Quinn invited her to Washington, D.C. next month to attend the National Governors Meeting, where she'll be able to make her pitch and push for this very important piece of legislation.
Governor Quinn signed a new law extending sexual abuse education in Illinois schools. Erin's Law is named after Schaumburg native and activist Erin Merryn. Erin was abused as a child, and as an adult, she's made it her mission to get legislation passed which will extend state-mandated sexual abuse awareness programs to elementary and middle schools.
Erin is a perfect example of what one person can do to make a difference that will save and protect the lives of countless numbers of children.
Governor Quinn also invited Erin to take her cause nationwide at the National Governors Association meeting next month.